Hey, what's up, everybody? Just want to take a quick second to talk about goal setting. That's a topic that is important to both business and personal life. So it's something that I'm constantly thinking about. So I actually think that the way that most people go about setting goals is quite ineffective. Most people just come up with a list of things that they want to do, but that list has no organizing principle. And so I've been searching for a better way to do this. And it was actually my good friend and co-founder, Morgan DeBon, who a couple years ago introduced me to a framework that I've been using and refining over the last few years. And I want to share with you in hopes that it'll be somewhat helpful. So this framework is a simple three-step process. It starts with articulating the identity that you want for yourself or that you want other people to see you as. Next up, you list the outcomes that are associated with that identity. And then lastly, you list out all the steps that you need to do to achieve those outcomes. And for maximal effect, I like to list the things that I need to be doing this year and look forward to next year so that I have both short-term and long-term objectives that I'm trying to hit. So as you notice, the end state is what most people commonly get to, is just a list of things that I should be doing. But the purpose of this framework is to introduce two steps beforehand. First, identifying who you want to be. What are the identities that are important to you? And then secondly, what are the outcomes or results or achievements that are associated with that outcome? And I think that's just a much better way to go about setting goals, because it really allows you to focus in on what's the purpose of all of this? Like, why do I want to achieve this thing? Why do I want to reach this new level? What ultimately is it contributing to? What's important to me in terms of how I see myself and how I want others to see me as well? Now, what's interesting about this particular framework is that I've been doing it for the last few years. In fact, my wife and I do it, and it's been very, very helpful. It's interesting because when I go back and I look at the identities that I've defined for myself this year versus what I defined last year and in 2019, they're pretty much the same, which I think is important because it says that there's consistency in how I see myself, how I want to be seen, and ultimately who I'm striving to be. Even though the bullet points of what I want to do in a particular year may change, they may evolve, I may achieve some things, I may miss out on some other things, but ultimately the identities that I am trying to reach, those things stay the same. And that's actually a profound thing when you think about the purpose of goals and just having purpose in your life. So hopefully this has been somewhat helpful. It's been really instrumental for me in my personal and business life. So go to jeffnelson.com/goals and download the worksheet. I hope it can help you. Happy goal setting. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. And I actually think that this framework is just important for self-care and mental health. When you just have a list of things without an organizing principle or context, then if you don't hit certain things on that list, then you can be too hard on yourself. If you actually start with, well, who am I trying to be? Then you can really just step out and ask a larger question. Am I embodying this? And if you feel like you are embodying that identity, and if other people can attest to the fact that you're embodying that identity, then you can sort of say, okay, well, maybe I need to think about the outcomes again. Maybe I have the wrong outcomes associated with it. And maybe I'm actually getting the kinds of results I want, because the bullet points themselves are just a detail in the larger story. So the purpose of this framework is to help people not focus just on those, what I like to say, implementation details. That's me being an engineer, but the larger picture of what you're trying to achieve, who you're trying to be. And if you're not embodying that identity, then sure, you can go through the framework and dig deeper on the outcomes or the steps that you're taking. But if you do feel like you're embodying that identity, then that's actually a good thing that should be celebrated, regardless of whether you're checking off some box on this long list that you came up with, absent any sort of larger context or organization.